The day the devil got his interview. I'll be right back. One day, as Satan himself was prowling around the world, he began to realize that God was getting much better publicity than he was. Well, Satan didn't like that, and so he strategized a plan to rectify the situation. And so he called up a national news station and he said, "How would you like to interview the devil?" Well, of course, you can imagine every reporter jumped at that chance. What a scoop! And so on the day of the interview, he transported the reporter and the camera crew to his home, if you will. And he's very proud of Hades, and he began to show them his art gallery. Now, this was no ordinary art gallery. It was strange, to say the least, from yours and my standards. It had several rooms, but the contents were very different. He opened the door to room number 1, and in walked the camera crew along with the reporter. Satan just kept quiet and let him gawk at that room for a while. In that room was a marble table in the center of the room. And the marble table had on it piles and piles of gold. The gold was stacked so high that it went clear to the ceiling. With a little grin on his face, Satan looked at the reporter and he said, "This is my greed room. Greed is one of my favorite tools. Many people fall for it." He then led him to the second room. And in the second room was a cocktail lounge. Now, many people seemed to be having a party and enjoying themselves. They were laughing, they were smoking, they were drinking. They were carousing and having a great time. Now the devil said, "This is my infidelity room. You see, the cocktail lounge is in a convention. This is how I tempt people who are away from home." The devil then went on to show them several other rooms. He came to the last room, and before he opened the door, he looked at the reporter and he looked right in the camera and he said, "This is my greatest tool. This is my favorite room, and I use this room almost every single day." When he opened the door, they walked in, and it was almost empty. There was hardly anything there. There was a pedestal in the center of the room, and sitting on the pedestal was a wedge, a very small wedge. Almost reminded you of a doorstop. And the reporter was obviously puzzled and said, "Devil, I don't understand. I don't get it. What's the wedge for?" And the devil said, "That's the wedge of self-doubt. With the wedge of self-doubt, I can cause so much damage." He said, "If I can separate somebody's abilities from their possibilities, then they're mine." Well, think about that for a moment. His greatest tool is the wedge of self-doubt, separating us from our possibilities. We all have our God-given talents and abilities. But if Satan can get us to stop believing in ourselves, to stop believing in the abilities that we have, then that cuts off the flow to our possibilities. The possibilities are the future endeavors and success that are coming your way, only if you don't let the wedge stop you. That's why self-esteem is so important. I encourage you, build up your self-esteem. Believe in yourself, and believe not only in the abilities that you have today, but the strengths and the possibilities of tomorrow. This is Mark Bowser. Thanks for listening.